the ratio of contact time with the ground relative to contact time with the ground is non-contact time with the ground is a reasonable measure. And so if you took a 120-pound runner and they applied that force over 1 second, power is force divided by time, 120 divided by 120 equals 1. Now, if you can shrink the time that foot's in contact with the ground to a half second, that's what you get, a 100% increase in force output. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone? Power is force divided by time. Simple principle. Now, if we began to measure running efficiency by dividing the contact time with the ground by the non-contact time with the ground, we begin to come up with a metric that gives you something like, well, I'm going to say highly efficient runners frequently exhibit a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning that their period of time that they're in contact with the ground and the period of time that they're in the air, non-contact, is equal. Okay? Now, this is an example of applying video analysis to measure running skill, to measure running skill efficiency. Now, I'm saying frames here because what do we do? What do we have? We have iPhones, we have apps, we have technology now that allows us to just shoot video. I can pull out my iPhone on the running path in Lincoln Park in Chicago with an athlete that says, oh, coach, got this problem, that problem. I have them run by, I shoot the video, I run it through an app called Slow-Mo, S-L-O-M-O. It'll cost you all of 98 cents. Once you've got that, you run that app through, you run that video you just shot through that app, you save it. You run it through again, and it slows it down a second time, and at that point, guess what you can do? You can count the frames. And so when you look at the runner from the side, 4 frames of support, 4 frames of non-support, 4 divided by 4 equals 1. That is the pie-in-the-sky goal that virtually no runner achieves all the time. But that's what we're looking for, okay? Support, non-support, at 5 to 3 frames, 3 divided by 5.6 is a 40% loss. 40% loss in efficiency. Okay? And incrementally down the line. Okay? Now, the vector, or the angle of force applied to the ground at each foot strike, is strongly influenced by the duration of contact time with the ground. So when we use the term vector, we're just talking about an angle. And when my foot hits the ground and force is applied, that force isn't just applied, but it's applied at an angle relative to the contact surface. And so there is an inherent close relationship, high level of influence of the contact time with the ground. That becomes a measure not only of efficiency, but it will tell you what the vector is. If you spend a lot of time in contact with the ground, the vector or angle is going to be relatively vertical. If you're spending very little time in contact with the ground, the vector is going to be relatively horizontal.